What's up guys, I'm Bob Tompkins with the Living in SC team at Real Broker, and welcome back to the channel. On today's episode of Living in SC, we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of Pendleton, South Carolina. Now, to be honest, right up front, Pendleton is one of my favorite cities in the upstate of South Carolina. Me and my family do spend a lot of time there, so I may have a slight bias towards Pendleton. But before we get into it, if you're thinking about making a move to South Carolina, please send us an email at info@livinginsc.com or give us a call at the number listed below, as we would love to be your resource for that move to the state. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the pros and cons of Pendleton, South Carolina. As I stated before, Pendleton is one of my favorite places in the upstate of South Carolina, and part of that reason is because it has a small town vibe. For me personally, I'm listing this as a pro of Pendleton. With there being so many larger options around the upstate, I think that Pendleton being one of those smaller town feels is a massive, massive pro. If you think about your traditional small town with just like the little town square and the little bit of businesses that run up and down that square, that is downtown Pendleton. It's not very large, but it does have a really, really good community feel. In fact, I'm good friends with a couple different business owners in downtown Pendleton, from the Tipsy Gypsy Wine Bar over to Brews on the Square. There's several places that I like to go hang out, socialize, and just have community in downtown Pendleton. Along with that, Pendleton does a great job with their community events. This is a part of being a small town, is really bringing the community together. From the Spring Jubilee to the Fall Festival, as well as the Saturday Farmers Market, Pendleton is one of those places where you can go downtown and you can just expect to see a lot of familiar faces. For a lot of people moving to the upstate, this could be very appealing to have this small town sort of feel, and that's what Pendleton is great for. Now, on the flip side of that, one of the biggest cons for Pendleton right now is the amount of development that's happening in Pendleton. Pendleton is currently experiencing some of the most residential development in the upstate of South Carolina, and a lot of that is due to its location. Because Pendleton is situated very close to Clemson and then just north of Anderson, there's actually a lot of raw land around Pendleton that has been undeveloped and untouched. And being so close to a major university for professors, for students, all of those sort of housing needs, Pendleton is so close that it has the ability to fill those needs for Clemson, as well as overflow as Anderson grows. Anderson's able to move a little bit north into these residential pockets in Pendleton. So what is Pendleton doing to preserve what makes it special, in being that it has a small town feel, while also developing at such a fast pace? Well, this is where I don't have a huge problem with Pendleton's development, even though it does worry me that it could affect the small town feel. Pendleton has done a great job of preserving its downtown. So a lot of the development that Pendleton is experiencing is out actually on Highway 76, down Highway 187, and it is away from the city center or the town square, which has allowed Pendleton to preserve that uniqueness when you go into town, while still expanding off of its major highways and allowing for the residential needs to be met in the upstate. So even though there is a lot of development happening in Pendleton, hopefully over time that small town feel and the way downtown Pendleton is run is able to be preserved over time. With my next pro of Pendleton, South Carolina, is its location. Now, as I said before, a lot of the development that is happening in Pendleton is due to its location because it is very close to Clemson and also just north of Anderson, but it's also very close to Easley, South Carolina, and it presents decent access into downtown Greenville. So for people that are looking for that sort of small town feel, but want to have 5 to 10 minute access to Clemson, want to have 15-minute access to Anderson, don't want to be further than 45 minutes away from downtown Greenville, Pendleton is the sort of place where you can really call home. Much of this has to do with Pendleton's location regarding the state highways. Now, Pendleton is located right off of Highway 76, which runs north into Clemson and south down into Anderson, but it also exists right off of 123, which runs east-west from Clemson all the way over to downtown Greenville. So if you're looking for a place where you can traverse relatively easy across the upstate, Pendleton offers a great solution for you. Now, as you can imagine, my con associated with this actually comes back to development. So you have two major highways that run just north and just west of downtown Pendleton, which allows for that easy access. But as development continues, there will always be the question of, are those highways sufficient to handle the amount of residents that are going to be living in Pendleton? Now, thankfully, Highway 76 running up from Clemson into Anderson is a 4-lane highway, as well as 123 running east-west from Clemson over to Greenville. Because of this, it's very rare that either one of these highways gets backed up, but there could be the need in the future for them to be expanded. However, unless it is a Clemson football game day, it's very rare that you have such an influx of traffic that makes these roads hard to travel. But that is worth noting that 7 Saturdays out of the year, Clemson will host a home football game. And when Clemson hosts a home football game, Clemson becomes one of the 5 largest cities in the state of South Carolina because of the amount of people that travel into town on game day. And 123 and Highway 76 really are the only 2 ways to get into Clemson, so Pendleton will experience some backed up traffic and some congestion 7 days out of the year. Now, with my next pro of Pendleton, South Carolina, it's the home values. Pendleton, over the last 4 to 5 years, has actually seen a relatively good run-up in price values, but I anticipate that you can expect to see that continue to run up over the next decade as Pendleton continues to be one of the most heavily developed areas. So when people are looking for a good, quaint downtown with the ability to travel across the upstate, that is something that is not necessarily easy to find. And as long as Pendleton preserves that, and the development continues to happen around Pendleton with the demand to live there, Pendleton should continue to see an increase in home values, which means 2 things. Number 1, it's likely going to be cheaper to buy in Pendleton now than it is 10 years from now. And secondly, if you purchase a home in Pendleton, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to see your home value increase over time, giving you some good equity in your home. Now, obviously, it's important to note that anything can happen in the real estate market, so there's no guarantee that your home values will increase or you'll gain a substantial amount of equity. But in the upstate of South Carolina, it is my personal belief that Pendleton may be one of the most safe investments that you can possibly make. With that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video about the pros and cons of Pendleton, South Carolina. Once again, my name is Bob Tompkins with the Living in SC team at Real Broker. If you're thinking about making a move to the area, don't forget to send us an email at info@livinginsc.com or give us a call at the number listed below. Hit that subscribe button, check out some of our other videos, and we will see you next time on Living in South Carolina.